Join the Classic Game Room community to get your questions answered on Thursday CGR Q&A. The following review has been approved by Lord Carnage and the best of Classic Game Room. Welcome to your Thursday Classic Game Room Q&A, where I'm going to answer some questions asked by those of you in the Wind Squid Pub, the Classic Game Room forums. Join up. They're a great place to be. And before I do that, I'll let you know I'm working on Sensible Soccer and JoJo's right now. In fact, I just recorded the Sensible Soccer narration a few moments ago. And big news, Lord Carnage, Wind Squid Jesus, the Coked Up Chicken, and Disco 8-Track are all now available on Kindle on Amazon.com, so you can read them digitally on your Kindle or iPad or whatever. So let's get started. Let's head over to the Wind Squid Pub and see how many questions I can get answered today. Let's start off with a question. Mark, in your opinion, how violent will games be 10 years from now? From Logic the Juice. Well, sex and violence sell, so probably pretty violent, but at the same time, kids' games generally outsell them, so, you know, there's always going to be a need for sex and violence in media. That's nothing new in human history. And if we look forward to the years 2084 and 2085, we're going to be fighting robots anyway, so you may as well get ready for it. Next question. Let's see. Do I own any complete collections? Maybe? Not entirely sure, actually. I have an awful lot of Sega Genesis and Atari games around here, I'll tell you that. 90s FPS. Frames per second? Or first-person shooter? Let's find out. I'm going to click on that one. Asked by Ronnie, 1031. Mark, a couple questions. What's my favorite old-school first-person shooter? Doom. Or Wolfenstein from back in the... They're both great. Which Doom port, pre-Xbox, is your favorite? I played the hell out of the original one. I love the original one. Same with Wolfenstein. Alright, let's keep going. More questions from ClassicGameRoom.com. CGR Arcade, asked by the Custer58. What is the question? You have quite a few arcade cabinets. Is there any possibility of opening the Intergalactic Space Arcade to paying customers? That's not part of my business plan. Also, it's very hard to get into space. However, we do have a good time with them around here. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of complications and stuff if you're going to open up a paying arcade. Let's see here. TV show that failed but you love it anyway, asks Wild Bill. Well, pretty much every TV show that I like at this point has failed at some point. Probably, what's my favorite TV show that failed? Well, Magnum P.I., but I'm not sure it failed so much as it just ran its course in the mid-'80s. Same with G.I. Joe and Transformers and, obviously Firefly. That one only lasted one season. Firefly is probably the best answer there. Of any show that really deserved to run for a long time, probably Firefly. Jason the Wheeled Warriors. No one really gave that show a chance. Also, Galaxy Rangers. Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. Lord Carnage video game. That would be great. Teddy Kong Country asks this, but I don't have plans for that at the moment. Mark, what's your favorite Futurama episode? Futurama, asks Smash Brothers Maestro. The one where they end up fighting off video game characters and Fry uses his all-Rush mixtape and a bottle of... Is that Faygo he's drinking? That was brilliant. Brilliant! That may have been Shasta, actually. It's been like 20 years since I've had either Faygo or Shasta. What are your thoughts on Jonny Quest? Asks Parapower1963. It's been a long time since I've seen a Jonny Quest episode, but that was a really cool TV show. If I'm not mistaken, it had great artwork. Really good animation for the time. I also liked Herculoids back in the day. Of course, who doesn't like Herculoids and Space Ghost? Let's see here. How many DVD, Blu-ray, digital releases are you planning per year? Asks Imperial Kador. Well, if I have it my way, quite a few. I've had a lot of requests to put all of the Classic Game Room reviews on DVD and Blu-ray. And, of course, there's thousands of reviews, so that's going to be hard to do. But I am working on Sega Genesis Greatest Reviews Volume 1, Atari 2600 Reviews Volume 1, Greatest Atari 2600 Reviews, and Greatest NES Reviews Volume 1 by Classic Game Room. Shot some new footage for those, and here's a clip of some. You can take your blast processing and shove it! So if I'm going to release things, I want them to be good. They're going to be packed with lots of exclusive content, exclusive reviews, behind-the-scenes features, and a loose storyline tying all of the Classic Game Room films together, with lots of clones and violence with plastic firearms. Okay, good question here from iCarnage asking if I have any tips for collecting video games. You know, I don't really have any specific tips other than work within your budget. You know, it's easy to get out of out of control when collecting. And also, I think you should collect stuff that you're going to use, because video games don't do anyone any good when they're just sitting on the shelf collecting dust. So if you love the Genesis or the Super Nintendo or something, stick with that and collect the games that interest you, that you think you'll play again or pass down to your kids or whatever. So that would be my my tip. Don't get out of control and collect to play, not to necessarily have them just sitting on the shelf. All right, E3 and other events, asks Cervantes. I don't have any plans at the moment for E3, and there might be a few other events that I'll be at this year coming up. I'll let you know when I find out what my schedule is. My schedule's a mess. It usually is. Favorite King of Fighters game, asks Yankee Boy 217. 98 King of Fighters. They're all really good. I like the King of Fighters games. I think all of them on my Neo Geo 111 in one cartridge. Let's see, what game genres do you not like? Asks Tastotron 5001. Great name. I'm not sure if there's a genre I don't like. I don't typically play a lot of sports games or RPGs or strategy games or PC games that require a lot of time to learn these days. I typically like a faster game that I can just jump into, play, and enjoy, and then move on. My favorite genres are, genres like arcade games and driving games. And I like some good sci-fi first-person shooters and stuff, and strategy games that I do know how to play, like Front Mission, like the Front Mission series, and tactics. Let's see here. A question from Raffini: Can your El Camino outrun the Blue Falcon? Damn right it can. Got jet engines in that thing, and they work in space. Also lasers. Let's see. Hey, Mark, how did you first get into drawing? Asks Darkness Zero. Well, I've always been into drawing. I've always loved comics and comic strips, and I used to read Garfield when I was a kid, and then got into, like, Spider-Man and, the other comic books and other comic strips like Bloom County. And actually, my goal for many years was to be a cartoonist and draw a comic strip or go to work for a comic book company or something. And that ended up going in. Then I ended up going into, like, marketing and business and then website work. And, well, here I am now. So everything's kind of come full circle since I'm drawing comics again. But I've always liked drawing. And the key to drawing and getting good at drawing or anything really is practice. So lots and lots and lots and lots of practice. Mark, how many clones do Derek, Brandon, and I have? Many. They're running all over the place. Because Derek clones are tough to kill, too. I keep beating them with the GameCom, and they just keep coming back. How do I decide what game to play next? I have no idea. Typically, whatever mood I'm in. Like today, I'm in kind of a soccer mood. So I was just recording the narration for Sensible Soccer. But I'm also going to play, I think, Rockman's Soccer, which is Mega Man, for the Super Famicom. It's been sitting on the shelf for a while. And if I'm going to do one soccer game, maybe I'll do two, maybe three. We'll see. So I try to bounce around different games, different genres, different systems, and also different people who have donated them around the world. So I know I'm running behind by several years now. Pepsi or Coke RC? And that was asked by Balder. Gotta go with the RC. Gotta be the wild card. Another question from Logic the Juice. Lots of questions from Logic the Juice. What killed the dinosaurs? Lord Carnage. And you'll read about that in Lord Carnage Book 2. Let's see, what is the preferred way to support CGR? Through website or YouTube? Just watching the shows and telling your friends about them. Spread the word. That's a great way to support Classic Game Room. Also, the Blu-rays and DVDs. That helps too. How can I know whether you already have a game I planned on sending you? Email us, please. Contact us on our website. Licensed Games asks, Mark, what are your favorite childhood games? My guess is Robotron 2084 and Defender. I remember those games when they were new. I remember playing Missile Command in the arcades. I loved the Black Hole pinball machine. I would play that with my dad. And Atari 2600. Loved the Empire Strikes Back game on Atari. That's one of my earliest memories. I remember hating E.T. with a passion. So I hated E.T. before it was cool to hate E.T. Also, I hate the movie E.T. It's true. Can't stand that movie. And the reason is, I've told this story before, but my dad took me to see E.T., and I was so pissed off there were no Star Destroyers, I just wanted to leave. I never even gave it a chance. I tried to watch it years later. I'm like, nah, this movie sucks. Because there's no Star Destroyers. Let's see. Mark, what would you be willing to pay for this hypothetical game? Asks Purple Tentacle. Ooh, I'm going to click on this. What's the game? Better be Truxton 3. Imagine there is a port of Truxton on the Vectrex where you play as a flying El Camino with flamethrowers, which features cosmic carnage during the loading screens. Now imagine that the only way you can get it is to start to physically state that Jar Jar Binks is the greatest star... I'm not going to say that on camera. No! No! You've tried to trick me. Purple tentacle. Jar Jar's evil. Hey Mark, what do you think of Rainbow Six Siege and the Rainbow Six series? You know, I don't think I've ever played any of them, to be honest. It's one of those games that looks cool, but I haven't had time to play them. Got some podcasting questions. I don't have plans to podcast anytime soon. Is it wrong that I like the Gamecom more than the Vectrex? That's not even funny. Brings a tear to my eye that you would even think such horrible thoughts. Alright, big question here from Logic the Juice. Serious question. What would I store in a time capsule programmed to unlock in 2084? Well, in order to surprise the robots invading, I would go with killer groundhogs trained for combat, armed with lasers. They'll never see that coming. Killer groundhogs. Definitely groundhogs. They're low to the ground, kind of creepy looking. Alright, and one more question here from SonyFan0712. What's my favorite superhero film? Well, there's been way too many superhero films lately. They all kind of blend together, but one stands out. The greatest superhero film of all time is ROBOCOP. The original one. Because if ROBOCOP isn't a superhero, then I don't know who is. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Join the ClassicGameRoom.com forums, ask your questions, and continue watching Classic Game Room. Thank you. I'm still mad about that Gamecom Vectrex. No. No. Yes, it's wrong. You shouldn't even think these things. The Best of Classic Game Room is now on DVD, Blu-ray, and Hyper Laser Vision album set.